Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Israeli. Today, we're going to talk about the flag march again. A week ago, there was supposed to be a flag march, then they canceled the flag march, and now the flag march is on again. Yeah? So, let's see what this is all about. Jerusalem flag march route finalized between organizers and Israel police. The march will start from Hanevim Street and go through Sultan Suleiman Street before arriving at Damascus Gate, where mass dancing with Israeli flags will commence. Okay, so this seems like it's going to go forward. The organizers of the Jerusalem flag march reached an agreement with Israeli police on Friday on the route of the parade. According to the agreement, the march will take place on Tuesday and will end at Damascus Gate. The march will start at Hanevim Street and go through Sultan Suleiman Street before arriving at Damascus Gate, where mass dancing with Israeli flags will commence. The organizers of the march called on the citizens of Israel to join them. This controversial decision was reached after both Hamas and many politicians have warned against the possible violence that it would incite, as it previously did, leading to 11-day war with Hamas. Now, this I want to talk for a second. Those of you who saw my other videos about the flag march know that I'm not a big supporter of this march. I think it shows lack of confidence on the Israeli side, but I can understand those who want to have this march, especially this year. Now, this time, I do support this march. Well, I support it anyway 100%, even though I don't agree with the idea, because it's a democratic country and people have the right to march in their capital city with flags. But this time, I really support it because Hamas was giving warnings. Now, I'm sorry, but Hamas cannot give warnings that if Israelis have a march in their capital city with Israeli flags, it's going to start a war. That is not legitimate. And anybody who supports that, well, you're supporting terror. You're supporting terrorism, and you're not supporting a way to peace. Now, this march is not supporting peace as well, in my opinion, because it is sort of like putting a finger in the eye of the Palestinians and the Arabs who are living in Jerusalem and in East Jerusalem and in the area all around, because it's a very tense area. So it is sort of like poking a finger in the eye in order to show that we don't care. This is our capital. We have the right to be here, which is true. They do have a right, and they do have the right to march. But it's sort of like to start tensions. It's not to promote peace. It's not to promote coexistence. But they do have a right to do it, and especially if Hamas is threatening to start an attack because of a flag march, then they definitely have the right to do it, and they should do it, because you cannot surrender to terrorism. If somebody tells me, if you eat the last piece of pizza, I am going to burn your house or something like that, yeah, I will eat the last piece of pizza. And if this guy even comes close to my house, well, I'll call the police and hopefully they'll stop him, yeah? You can't just threaten people with violence over democratic rights, yeah? I understand that Hamas is not a democratic movement, and they don't believe in freedom of speech and freedom of thought and freedom of ideas, but still Israel is a democratic country and they can't stop it. Now, the question is, this cabinet that now decided for this march that it is going to happen on Tuesday, if it has anything to do with the new government that's going to be sworn in today on Sunday, tomorrow on Sunday, I think, if they're doing it on purpose to challenge them, to see how they're going to handle it. And I think it's not a bad thing. Yeah, they made the decision. Now this new government will have to show how they handle this type of stuff. Yeah, they're going to have to be put to the test at some point, so they may as well be put to the test right now. And I think they have professional enough people to deal with it in the right way, hopefully in a different way than the Bibi governments did, hopefully. And I have another suggestion for this flag march. I suggest that when you get to Damascus Gate or one of those places where a lot of Palestinians, Arabs are going to be, bring a table and chairs and put on it a sign like Steven Crowder, yeah, which I admire a lot, even though I don't agree with many of the things he says. Put a sign, change my mind, and sit down and invite Arabs, Palestinians, to talk with you and have a conversation there and film it and show it to the world. Yeah? Do you think that might work? Or do you think that's going to end up in violence? I don't know. But if you can think of a way of doing it, have your flags, have everything, but bring a table with change my mind and invite Palestinians to speak with you. Have a conversation, not just poking finger. Have a conversation. Show that you're also open to the other side's view of things. Well, that's my offer to you. If any one of the people who's going to go to the march sees this and can bring it up to the organizers, I think it could be an interesting development. So the decision to reinstate the march on a different date was made last week at the Security Cabinet meeting, which is interesting. But I think Gantz is also there in the cabinet meeting, and he's also in the new coalition. So I don't think the new government will really have a problem to deal with it. But we'll see what happens. The controversy and delays in approval lies in the Damascus Gate debate, which is what initially led to its cancellation. Defense Minister Gantz had previously advised that the march not take place after it was originally postponed due to security reasons. So again, Gantz, you can't decide that. That is not your job. As a defense minister, your job is to, put the army on alert if need be, but your job is not to ban people from having from exercising their democratic rights. Whether you agree with it or not, or whether you think it might light up the area or not, Hamas has no right to light up the area because of a march. No right, zero. So, as a sovereign country, you need to take responsibility for that. You can't tell your people, I'm going to limit your democratic right because we have a crazy terrorist group who's threatening us. It doesn't work that way. Yeah? Democratic rights come first, and you as a government need to deal with the crazy terrorist organization. That's your job. I don't think the way Bibi dealt with them. I think a different way is preferable, and it's your job to find that way. In response to the agreement, far-right MK Itamar Ben-Gvir said that it does not matter that the flag parade will go forward, adding that the police and government already surrendered to terrorism. So he lost the argument, but he's doubling down because he can't admit that the police are making responsible decisions because he's against the chief of police right now, because the chief of police blamed him for starting the riots in Sheikh Jarrah by moving his officers in there. It's a long story. Maybe I'll make a video on it, maybe the next video I'll make on it, but this Ben-Gvir, he moved into Sheikh Jarrah. He's a lawyer and a minister member, a parliament member. He moved to Sheikh Jarrah. He moved his law offices there because he said that Jews are being attacked there, which might be true, might be not, I don't know. So he moved there, which either way, it's not his job. He's not the police. He's a parliament member and a lawyer. So how him moving his law office there is supposed to protect the Jews there, he didn't explain. Anyway, he moved there, and then the riots in Sheikh Jarrah started because they didn't want him there. He's a far-right activist, you can say. And the police chief blamed him for starting the whole riot thing. And since then, he keeps saying that the police chief needs to be fired or he needs to quit and all that stuff. And so now that the police chief approved the march, he doesn't have much to say. So he said they surrendered to terrorism anyway. But, now with this new government, hopefully the next elections, this Ben-Gvir is going to be gone, at least from parliament. He's not going to be gone from our lives because he's a character. And the media likes him, and the far right likes him. So he's not going to disappear from our lives, but he's going to disappear from parliament, which is good enough for me. Okay, so this is more or less what is happening with the march. The march is happening anyway, which I think is a good thing. I think Hamas has zero right to do anything about it. I think the Palestinians that are going to be over there in Jerusalem while this march is going on should just deal with it. Yeah, they don't need to like it, but they shouldn't do anything violent about it. They have no right to do anything violent about it. And people have the right to walk with flags in their capital and dance if they want to dance. But I do suggest you try to challenge everybody there, bring a table, change my mind, invite Arabs to speak with you, and try to have a conversation on both the extremes, not to have the left with the peace activists on both sides talking to each other. Have the ones that don't believe in peace at the moment talk to each other. That's what we need to happen. And I think this is a good opportunity to do that. So, well, we'll see what's going to happen with this. Hopefully it's going to go by smoothly without any incidences, and that will be that. So hopefully this will be the last video on the flag march and everything will go by quietly. But of course, if something happens, I will be here to talk about it. So, okay, thank you for watching this video. And again, please comment, like, share. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It's very important for this channel. For those of you who are watching, there aren't many of you at the moment, but I do appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah. And that's all I have to say about now. So have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.